Whose name is on that? Maybe you can ask a friend to help you.
Thank you.
Oh.
I'll say. Kenzie Anderson.
I try to look for observations of what can inform me on their progress socially and emotionally. Something I noticed today is that they are so into the routine without me having to model it for them or remind them. They are doing what they're supposed to do and they don't need me holding their hand through that. That was nice to see. I like to try to pair them, have them buddy model it, feel more comfortable with another child helping them. I use picture supports. Through every step of the morning, I try to have a tool that helps them with whatever area they need. When they're signing in, they do have the option of using a name card from their cubby. If they forget their jobs, they can look at the reference chart. I try to have several options for them before they have to come to me and say, Miss Healy, I don't know what to do or I need help. It's not just because there's 20 of them and it makes it easier for me, but in the long run, it's easier for them if they're able to do it independently. All set? Thanks, Ariana. Hey, Francisco. Are you going to use that to help you? With your last name or your first name? Last name. Okay. This morning, I went over to the chart where children were signing in and just to check in to first see if they needed any assistance. It gives me an opportunity to have conversation with them. How are you, Francesca? Are you feeling better? I haven't seen you in a long time.
I think it is so important to understand that teaching and learning does not begin or end at school. There's a whole part of the day that they spend at home. We need to know about those things in order to best help them in the classroom.
There's a child, his mom just had a baby. We've noticed that his social emotional development in school has been greatly affected by all these changes going on. So we've been touching base with mom about 2 or 3 times a week about things that she's seeing at home and things that we're seeing in school and trying to come up with ways that we can help him adjust with these changes, how we can help him in school, how she can help him at home, making that homeschool connection with his learning and development.
Okay.
There are 7 days. There are 7 days. There are 7 days in the week. Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday.
At this point in the year, it's no longer about the content during morning meeting. I'm really trying to foster the independence and the leadership skills. Here are all the days of the week, but they're mixed up. So I'm going to ask you to fill in our sentences so you can tell us about the days of the week.
Tomorrow will be Thursday.
Let's give her 2 thumbs up. That was awesome. I like to give them a chance to do it by themselves. It's about fostering those social skills that are so important moving forward in first grade and beyond, that they're able to be leaders, they're able to have the confidence to say, I know this and I'm going to show you and all of my peers that I'm able to do this by myself.
How'd you make that?
I set up my classroom so the kids can be independent and engage in each area. I intentionally and explicitly describe each area. Over in the house area, we have some dress-up clothes where you can look at your reflections in the mirror. How to use each area. I try and break it down so kids know what is expected of them. And on the rug, with our rectangular prisms, we're going to add some cars today, like this one. This is called an ambulance and a taxi. Maybe you can make a road for them. And if there was an ambulance coming, that taxi would have to move right out of the way, right?
10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100.
We talk about trying to challenge them and having them kind of push themselves and learn new things.
If we add yours to it, now how many groups of 10 do we have?
2.
2. And how many cubes altogether? If we count them by tens, we have 10, 20. Good.
So I gave them the challenge of how many more groups did we need to actually get to 100. And I knew that some of them would get it and some of them wouldn't. And I tried to wait, and so that's always the hard thing, the kids that like jump up with the answer right away.
I've had to make myself slow down and give that wait time that the kids need to be able to give answers. My ongoing constant assessment of kids really helps me to be able to differentiate the questions that I ask or the way that I have kids respond or preparing them to respond, to see the different ways that they need some feedback, to see how they're thinking. There are definitely students that push my buttons sometimes. That's where the patience thing comes in. I try to sit back. I do the okay, give myself 10 seconds if they're really pushing it. And I really try to see what it is because it's usually something behind the behavior. What's the matter? You don't want to do this? There was actually a girl today that is super smart, but she was having a tough time. Okay, how about if I make it in dots for you and then you can trace over it? Will that help? Okay, so S. Curve around and back. And it turned out that she was having a hard time with the letter S, and when I looked at her paper, she had written it and erased it and written it and erased it. So I did it in dots for her, and once I did that, she was able to finish and do the rest of her work on her own, which I knew she could do. There you go.
I'm always observing as I teach. I'm looking for their reaction. It's a constant dance that you have to do to adjust on the fly. Some days it's easier than others, some tasks are easier than others, but that's what I love about teaching. It's constantly changing, it's never stagnant. Who can raise a hand and tell me what comes next?